I have countless cases of what I considered impropriety in the White House that I brought to the chief of staff because I thought the way he engaged with women was dangerous. This is, I mean, we know these facts, the patterns have laid out, and now this is something that's not just speculation, it's not just allegations, it is a jury of his peers deciding that he did this.
Wait, you brought to Mark Meadows, the chief of staff, or other chiefs of staff, incidents that you witnessed of Donald Trump behaving inappropriately with women?
I did, as well as former White House press secretary Stephanie Grisham and others. Nothing that rises to this level, but things that I would consider improper and that I had a duty to report. And this is all out there. Voters need to pay attention, and folks in my own party need to stop making apologies for this man.
Is there anything more you can tell us about this?
If I'm able to, I will share more.
So that is Alyssa Farah Griffin, obviously a former communications chief under Donald Trump in the White House, implying there at the end of that amazing bombshell statement that there could be more to come from this. This is obviously a reaction to Donald Trump and his E. Jean Carroll lawsuit, but let's also pause for just 1 second to point out that if this was a former Biden communications chief, this would be the single largest scandal of his entire presidency. And this is a ripple detail from Donald Trump's other scandals that maybe some people will pay attention to. Most will probably miss that she even made those allegations. Also roped in Mark Meadows, by the way. Mark Meadows knew apparently all of this. He received official reports from a senior staffer in the White House and evidently did nothing, just protected Donald Trump while he was engaging in all of this sexual misconduct. And will anything come of this? I don't know. There are just so many scandals, JR, that it's really hard to say, but I'm glad that she's at least speaking out now about it.
She's speaking out now about it, saying the same things that people were saying back in 2015 when he started running, when the tape came out of him, as you mentioned earlier, admitting to doing these types of things, which didn't do anything, which maybe that gives some credence to John Cornyn's point that, hey, people who support Trump are sexual assault supporters. That's what he's saying. Again, listen to what these politicians are saying. He says people who support Trump, people who don't. This sexual assault liability decision made by this jury will mean nothing to the people that support him. So if you're one of those people that supports him through this, he's pointing out. So if some lib on MSNBC decides to say the same thing, you'd go, how dare these libs say this about us? You calling us deplorables? John Cornyn just called you deplorable. Unless you think supporting a sexual assault, not rapist in this case, is not deplorable. Is that a deplorable action to do to someone? You have to start making decisions about which one you are and how you're gonna be. Because we call all those people that were saying these things in 2015 and 2016 Trump haters, never Trumpers. You just guys got Trump derangement syndrome. We threw all these labels on these folks. We've been saying it for years. And now that someone else that was in the White House after he won and was doing the same stuff, we have to protect your staffers. And by the way, Alyssa Farah is not the only one. There's another woman that was involved in the administration dealings, and she said she kept her staffer from him because of the same reason. So you tell me, I think it was Grisham, yeah. I think it was Grisham. Yeah. They were talking about how they're keeping staffers from them because they know what he does. Is that comfortable? Is that someone you want to support? But they'll turn right around and stick their face on TV and say, yeah, I'll support him again. You sound like you're calling yourself a deplorable human being.
Yeah, by the way, can we also just point, again, we could go back and forth with this all day. We kind of are, actually. Do you remember what Donald Trump did when he debated Joe Biden? Do you remember who his guests were?
No.
Against Hillary, sorry, not Joe Biden, against Hillary Clinton, I apologize. Do you remember the guests that he brought to the debate against Hillary Clinton? Am I the only one old enough to remember?
I don't remember, no.
He brought multiple women who had made claims against Bill Clinton, implying that he was going to recognize women who were abused by a president while he was in the White House. And then he got into the White House and he apparently was so abusive that even Republicans were like, we gotta keep some of these staffers away from him because there's no way to control his behavior. He is going to abuse them.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.